this special week 13 recap brought to you by Haps Sports. I'm Brian H. Waters coming to you live. So make sure if you haven't done so before we get started, make sure you download the Haps app right now. Subscribe. You can get notified every time I go live. A lot of great journalists, and you can also support my work right here on Haps. You can go ahead, throw a donation. You can sit there and subscribe, and you can also sponsor. What's up, Pablo? Pablo coming through in the chat. So the biggest story, what a week 13. But I'm going to start right here with the Giants. As I throw that right on your screen, you'll see, if you haven't done so, the Giants pulling off the big upset against Russell Wilson and the Seattle Super Seahawks. Big shock to me. Didn't think that was going to happen, to be honest with you. I picked the Seahawks to win this game. You think about the Giants going all the way over to the West Coast. You know, one thing they didn't have to deal with was the loudness that the 12 can bring. For those who do not know, that is what Seattle's fan base is called. So, you know, it's a shocker. But the biggest thing too is I'm gonna throw a little nugget right on your screen, and that is that this is the, let's see if it comes up. Did I do this right? Yeah, there we go. It should be up there. Giants become the first team in the NFC East to have a win over a team with a 500 or above record, a winning record. So that was a big shock right there. You know, it's right there. You can see Russell Wilson, boom, gets sacked on third down. The defense, that's what it all came down to. The Giants defense getting it done. It's got some people. Eric White, shout out to my boy Eric, says the Giants barely won, but talk about my Steelers. Come on, talk playoffs already. Let me hear it. We'll talk about that later, Eric. I know you want to talk about your Steelers. But you know, the Giants, defense wins games. Bottom line, this was a big shock to me. I've seen the Giants. I've seen them play, watching them go against the Washington football team. I know their defense will come up in the clutch, as you may remember in week 9, when they came up in the clutch against Washington, picking off Alex Smith right at the end of the game. That would happen here. Well, they didn't get a pick, but Russell Wilson, I always get Westbrook and Wilson mixed up when I'm talking. I know who I'm talking about, but Russell Wilson just wasn't able to get it done this time. So, like I said, that was a big upset, bottom line. But another one we saw today, and that was the Browns, folks. The Browns getting it done today. Let me get one of these off the screen because it won't be so distraction. There you go. Boom, Baker Mayfield. He had an incredible 4 touchdowns today, folks. Definitely didn't see it coming. Shout out to Mike Patton from Nashville. He said, thank you, Giants. Help my 49ers out. Now, Mike was on here earlier talking about this game right here, this being the Titans and the Browns. But Baker Mayfield, an incredible game. Today, he looked like the number 1 draft pick. I have a shout out. I was talking to Ashley Baker earlier. We was watching this game, and we was talking during the game, and we was like, Baker gets a lot of flap because he is somebody who's very confident in his game. He does talk a lot. And I said, well, they kind of crowned the Browns early last year. Last year, if you remember, they said, this is going to be the team to beat. People had them in their Super Bowl when they got OBJ. And then it didn't help that in week 4 last year, they pummeled the Ravens with a huge win. So all of this stuff, and then they would fall off. But now, this year they come in week 1, boom, boom, they got beat by the Ravens, and they get an opportunity to make that up next week. And yes, if they do win, and the game is in Cleveland, and the Ravens hopefully will be coming off a win against the Dallas Cowboys, but even if they don't, what they win next week, the Browns will clinch. They will clinch a playoff spot, the first time since 2002. So a lot at stake, and no better team would they like to get this done than their hated division rival Baltimore Ravens. The only other team would be the Pittsburgh Steelers, but they would love to get this done against Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. We do know the Ravens are in so much disarray this year, so tomorrow, Tuesday night, will be very crucial for them as they look to bounce back. So let's move on. Jalen Hurts, he took over today. Carson Wentz. I saw that he was benched. Right here you'll see, boom, Hurts is going to get his first career touchdown. Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna go full screen. Let's take a look at that again. First career touchdown. You see Carson Wentz right there on the sideline cheering him on. I mean, the Packers was obviously the favorites in this one. You have a Green Bay team who has, they're the Packers. You're going to be, you can pencil them in for 10 wins at least with Aaron Rodgers as their quarterback. But when it came down to it, it was this run by Jones. And, he shook off a couple of people. When he got through that secondary, I said, oh, it's a wrap right here. And then watch, he could go out of bounds. No, he's not. He's just going to take it right in and, going in for the score. Packers win this one. And, shout out to the Packers. They're having a good season. I know Mike McCarthy's looking there like, man, if I could get my guys to do that, he would have loved an opportunity to face Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers in the playoffs or down the line. But unfortunately for him, that's not going to happen. But the Packers get it done. Jalen Hurts shows promise. I'm wondering what the conversation will be. Philly fans, how do you feel? Do you like Jalen Hurts being the quarterback? Are you ready for the Jalen Hurts era to begin? Carson Wentz. A couple years ago, this guy was an MVP candidate. He was an MVP candidate. And then, we can't deny what he did before to, set up Nick Foles to go ahead and bring the Super Bowl home before he got hurt. So, but, you're as good as your last game in the National Football League. Mike Patton said, shout out to the Rams for bringing the Cardinals back to my 49ers with that loss. And, right here, we got the Rams pick 6. As you'll see, boom, this was right here. This will pretty much seal the game right here in the fourth quarter. There it is. Rams taking it in as the Cardinals were down by 10. And you can make a comeback down by 10 with under 5 minutes left. But, 17, that's unlikely to happen. But the Rams, they are looking almost like that team that won the the NFC championship a few years ago. Could they be back? That's going to be interesting to see. Another team getting it done today, the Lions, with a huge win, a win that they needed over the Bears. Both teams at 5-7. As you can see, Adrian Peterson just getting it done. Vintage Adrian Peterson. I think personally, folks, I think he's the best running back in this generation, without a shadow of a doubt. I think he's the best running back in this generation. Mike Patton says he told Philly fans that this was going to happen sooner or later. He's talking about Jalen Hurts being in as their quarterback. So, we'll see. Like I said, interested to know what happens from here. I think this is a huge opportunity for Jalen Hurts. Even though they didn't get the win, he did show some promise, and he did throw that pick 6. That pick at the end of the game, a dive-in interception. So, the growth pains. We saw this last year. 2 years ago. Wow, time flies. 2 years ago with Lamar Jackson coming in, taking over. Yeah, he did. I think he went like 6-1, but there was a lot of growth pains that he went through, and he's still going through, quite frankly. He says 49ers win tomorrow. And I'm going to put this on the screen so y'all can see his tweet if you're watching on another platform. Get on Haps, subscribe to the Haps, download the app. It's absolutely free. You should see the link right there if you're on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. So it makes it easier for you. But he says 49ers win tomorrow, and they are even more live in the playoff race. Rams are good unless they face the 49ers, who they lost to 5 straight times. So, but I feel like this Rams team is clicking, Mike. I do. I feel like they're clicking. So let's see. Whatever games, Dolphins come. They beat the Bengals. Were we surprised? 19-7. Jaguars fall, close, but they fall to the Vikings 24-21. We also had the New Orleans Saints. I believe they clinched their playoff berth today with a win over their hated rivalry, the Atlanta Falcons. I have to say, shout out to my boy David Shealy. We was on Clubhouse the other night just talking about that, and he said, man, down here in the South, Saints Falcons is like how y'all feel about Ravens and Steelers. It's a huge rivalry. He said, except, and he might get some heat for this. You follow him at Deacon_Shealy. He said the Falcons. The Saints fans hate the Falcons more than they love their own team. Even though Mardi Gras, you see them holding up, they're trolling the Falcons. So that's always interesting. I love talking rivalries. I love talking rivalries in general. The Colts with a big win today, win that they really needed as they look to stay alive in this playoff race. 8-4, they defeated the rival Houston Texans. 28-9 against the Texans all time. Now, granted, a lot of those wins was with Peyton Manning and then Andrew Luck. So, they're in this weird position with quarterbacks. Would you say maybe people out there, would this be like, oh man, I just had it and just dropped it that fast. Bart Starr, then a break, and then here comes Brett Favre. Granted, it was Peyton the Luck, and then right now, they're looking for their next franchise. Yeah, Philip Rivers is in there, but he's in there to hopefully, maybe bring them a championship if possible. But he's certainly not their franchise quarterback. He's certainly not the team we will think will win it all. So shout out to, let me make sure I got this name. I'll run for help. Ask about the Raiders. Are they going to be in it? Real quick, I'll get to that. But it said Titans still lead the division even with the loss and the Colts win. Yeah, that's true. They do. But, I'll run for help brings up the Las Vegas Raiders. So it's only right. It's only right we do this. And we got to play this right here. This is where you see them getting the touchdown. And I'm going to actually go full screen for that one. And hold on, I just took it off. My bad. Yeah, we'll go full screen for this one because this right here, 11 seconds left. Derek Carr, boom. He finds the receiver. I get those Alabama boys mixed up. Forgive me. I just had the name. But it's the game-winning touchdown. And, when you look at what could happen, when you think about what could happen, right? You think about this Jets team poised to be 0-16. Anything like with the 0-16 team, it's usually like any way possible they could lose. Any way possible. Henry Ruggs, thank you. I was sitting there. Mike must have known. That's my bro right there. Must have known I was looking for it. But yeah, anyway, you knew like you lose close games, you lose, blowouts. And right here, it's just so I remember I think I pulled out my phone and I was like, oh wow. And if you're a Jets fan, you feel bad for the Jets fans because I don't think nobody, even though you may want that high draft pick, nobody wants to go 0-16. But it's very well possible as I look to pull up their schedule for the remainder of the season. So let's take that off the screen. As I pull up their schedule for the rest of the season, let's see. They have next week Seattle. It's hard to believe Seattle's going to lose twice, even though they're going to be going to Seattle. I can't see this Jets team. I didn't think the Giants would. I just can't see this Jets team going out there and getting a win. But then we're going to have the Jets and the Rams. That's another loss. The Browns. This is going to be week 16. This could be crucial for playoff seeding. So, or maybe the Browns hopefully will not have, 9 times out of 10, they're going to clinch either next week or the week after, right? Even if they lose to the Ravens, they can clinch the week after, probably. But this could be one of those games they need to win the clinch. And then they're going to play the Patriots. The Patriots, not even worth talking about. They beat the Chargers today. And the score, let's see what that final score, 45-0. 6-6. Bill Belichick, no matter what y'all say, he's not missing the playoffs. You know, he liked those playoff game checks. But it says, is there beauty in this is chromo geometry. Is there beauty in losing games? Maybe it's a talent. You know, that's hilarious. That person also said poor Jets, you know. But I don't know, man. I feel bad for him, but I think this is over. You know, I was talking about the Patriots earlier. This right here, you know, when you win in a game, boom, block field goal, take it to the house. It's just stuff like this. Like in a 45-0 game, it's almost like you lose in all ways possible. And that's exactly what happened here. So yeah, this is going to be interesting. Let's see. Got my boy K Patrick. What up, K? Jumping in on Facebook, says I'll be waiting for the Pittsburgh versus Washington talk tomorrow. Okay, all right, we'll see. You know, shout out to my boy Dev Ashby. Dev Ashby hosts the play-by-play analysis. I was listening to his podcast earlier, and he agrees with me. He agrees with me saying that Washington could pull off the upset. But I will say they're going to have to play. They are capable. If they're capable of getting everything done, they could pull off that win. And I'm still picking them to win. But we shall see. You know, they're going to have the rest. They haven't played since Thanksgiving. Pittsburgh will be coming off a short week. And so yeah, I think we got most of the games covered. Yeah, Saints Falcons. Yep. So that's all the games this week, you know. So far tonight, the Broncos will take on the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, we already know. We already know. It's hard to it's Sunday Night Football. It's hard to even believe that the Chiefs would drop this one. And Mike Patton says, yeah, Patriots are always going to be around as long as Bill Belichick is there. Chromo Geometry says, can the Packers go all the way? I feel like the Packers, that team, you just pencil in the NFC Championship every year. And I think a lot of people may have forgotten how many times they've gotten there. They was there last year, and they just got blown out. They got blown out by the Falcons a couple years ago. They had it in their hand. Boom, lost to Seattle in like the final couple of minutes, you know. Washington, go to church today. If so, they have a better chance of winning. See, Mike, I can't agree because I don't think Pittsburgh's that good. I will stand by that statement. I don't think they're that good. It's that, bro, everybody was supposed to upset us. I just don't. I don't think Pittsburgh's that good, man. So I do give Washington a chance to do it. It's going to come down to the play of the front four. I look for Chase Young to have a big game. But Alex Smith and Terry McLaurin are going to have to be on the same page, and that's how they'll get it done. So I love the Pack, but you're right. They make it to the playoffs every year and choke. That's coming in from Gemini Madman. Yeah. Every year they go deep. That's the thing. They go deep into the playoffs. But when you got the bad man Aaron Rodgers, you know, you can kind of pencil that in, you know. So oh man, we shall see. But guess what, folks? I'm gonna wrap this up. I appreciate everybody jumping in. This was always fun. Appreciate y'all tuning in. If you haven't done so, make sure you download the Habs app. So many great things. I would love to see a Pack Steelers game now. We saw that already. I don't like Super Bowl rematches. That's me. But I don't like Super Bowl rematches. We saw it. It was a boring Super Bowl, in my opinion. Yeah, I was a little salty because the Ravens had a 21-3 lead against the Steelers that year in the divisional playoffs, and they dropped it. But you know, Aaron Rodgers went out there, he did his thing. You know, I was expecting a more exciting game, but to me, it was boring. That was when, if y'all remember, Xbox Connect for the 360 had just came out. So during halftime, me and my sister started playing that. And guess what? We played it for the rest of the game. I believe, I'm not mistaken, I believe it was a snowstorm around that time. I know it was one when the Saints played the Colts in Baltimore. It was a big blizzard. So it canceled all my Super Bowl party plans that I had planned to attend. But I think that next year was something going on too. But if I had to make a pick, this year, my Super Bowl, I would say, I'm going to officially, as we're in week 13, I'm going to officially denounce my Super Bowl pick. That was the Baltimore Ravens and the Seattle Seahawks. And I'm going to say my official pick is the Kansas City Chiefs. And I don't want to pick them because it's so easy, but it's the Kansas City Chiefs over. Are y'all ready? Over the Los Angeles Rams. I said it. I think the Rams are going to do it. I think they're going to give it to us, and I think we're going to get maybe a good offensive show. No, I'm not going with the Rams. Are you kidding me? I'm sticking with the Seahawks. I know they lost today, but sometimes on the road to the Super Bowl, you get that roughing up. And let's look at the. I know I said I was going to get out of here, but you brought up a potential Super Bowl, so I had to talk about that. So we got the Chiefs. Let's look at the Chiefs' remaining schedule. Heading out for the rest of the year, and they will take on. That should be a good one. So they got the Broncos tonight in a few minutes. They got the Dolphins. That's a win. The Saints could be either way. The Falcons. No, they're not. They're not catch them slipping. And they got the Chargers in week 17. I can see the Chargers winning, but otherwise, I do think the Kansas City Chiefs will end the season at 15-1. I think they'll end at 15-1. I think it would be interesting. I mean, 16-1. I do think it could be. What is it? 15-1. I think that them and the Steelers could both end up at 15-1, and that would make for an interesting showdown for the AFC Championship that I believe would be a blowout in the end. It would be the Chiefs getting it done. Says Rodgers reminds me of Favre, can be fire but super unpredictable. Yeah, he can be, but I so this is going to sound like hateration, but I don't care. It's my opinion. I never was a Brett Favre fan. I thought most of his best passes was to the other team. You think about that play against the Eagles when he threw that pick. That was so beautiful in the NFC divisional championship game, or NFL divisional round, NFC. So I do think that, but we'll see. But folks, I'm getting ready to get out of here. Just want to remind you, if you haven't done so, download the Haps app. This is the place to be. I say that all the time. Shout out to Mike Patton joining in. Shout out to Gemini the Man, Chromo Geometry. Oh man, I want to scroll up, make sure I give all the shout outs to everybody who jumped in the chat. Shout out to my boy K Patrick. Shout out to Ill Will, Jay Howard, all listening in. Eric White, and not the other Eric White, my boy Eric White from high school. Shout out to him. Shout out to Pablo, Peter, Mark. I feel like I'm missing somebody else, but shout out to everybody who continuously supports the show, continuously watch. I appreciate it. I really do, seriously, from the bottom of my heart. I thank y'all for watching, tuning in, engaging in the content. So make sure y'all download the app, subscribe, and sponsor. Go ahead and drop, you can drop $1, $2, $5 a month. That's it. $5 a month. Holla at your boy. Till next time, folks, goodbye and good night.